as you journey through the later years of life. Perhaps you found yourself reflecting more on what truly matters. The regrets or what-ifs that once lingered in your thoughts are now a part of the past. At this stage, time feels more precious than ever, and the question of how to live a fulfilling life might often cross your mind. The grand ambitions of youth may have gradually given way to simpler but more profound desires. Joy no longer lies in distant pursuits, but in the moments close to your heart. A healthy body, a warm meal shared with loved ones, or a sense of peace within. Have you ever considered that true happiness in old age isn't about achieving something extraordinary, but rather cherishing those simple yet meaningful wishes? These are the keys to unlocking a life of serenity and contentment in your golden years. Wish number 1: financial freedom and security. Old age is a challenging phase of life, marked by declining health and often reduced income. At this time, financial freedom becomes crucial for a comfortable or insecure life. Being financially independent in old age is highly valued because it ensures not only self-care, but also helps preserve one's dignity. In many cases, if children are filial and take good care of their parents, the elderly feel fortunate. However, not everyone has devoted children, and entrusting all of one's care to them carries significant risks. In reality, many seniors choose to transfer their money and assets to their children, hoping that they will be cared for in return. This is essentially gambling on the filial piety of one's offspring. If children fail to meet these expectations, not only is trust broken, but the elderly can also find themselves without the resources to care for themselves. This creates unnecessary dependence and can lead to feelings of abandonment or a loss of self-determination. Financial independence grants seniors the freedom to choose where to live, the kind of medical care they receive, and the way they want to spend their days, without having to rely on anyone else. It also spares them the feeling of being a burden on their children and grandchildren, a situation that can strain family relationships. In Western cultures, self-reliance is encouraged early on, with people learning to save for their future and plan for their retirement while they are still young. This isn't just a practical approach. It's about preparing for a peaceful, independent life. With financial freedom, the elderly can choose a lifestyle that suits them, whether that means living alone or in a retirement community where they are well cared for without needing to depend on their children. This approach not only helps them retain their dignity and the respect of their children, but also maintains healthy family relationships, free from financial entanglements. Ultimately, money is not just a means of living. In old age, it becomes the key to maintaining independence, self-control, and peace in one's later years. This is why the desire for financial freedom is not merely about material comfort. It's also about self-respect and the right to make decisions about one's own life. Wish number 2: happy, successful children and grandchildren. One of the greatest wishes of the elderly is to see their children and grandchildren happy and thriving. This desire stems from a sense of having fulfilled their responsibilities and passing on their legacy to future generations. In the perspective of many in the West, the happiness and independence of their offspring are not only the joys of old age, but also a sign that they have lived a meaningful life. The elderly no longer yearn for personal achievements. Their greatest pride now lies in the success of the next generation. Philosophers like Aristotle emphasize that the family is the cornerstone of society, and the happiness of future generations not only helps families flourish, but also maintains social stability. Seeing children and grandchildren happy and successful in their careers is proof of their good upbringing and care, which gives the elderly a sense of fulfillment. The happiness and success of children and grandchildren provides seniors with peace of mind. When their offspring are self-sufficient, they do not have to worry about life's challenges weighing down on the family. Additionally, the self-reliance of children helps alleviate any feeling that the elderly are becoming a burden on the next generation. Seniors often feel relieved when they know their children and grandchildren can handle life on their own without needing their assistance. Take Mr. William, an elderly man living in a small house on the outskirts of Boston, Massachusetts. He is over 80 years old, yet maintains a well-kept, lively appearance. He has two sons who are both successful. One is a lawyer, and the other is a doctor, with a stable financial situation and a loving family. One might think Mr. Williams' old age would be peaceful and happy. However, life doesn't always go as planned. His grandson, Mike, once the family's great hope, lost his way. After leaving college, Mike fell into alcohol and substance abuse. Despite the family's many efforts to help him overcome his addiction, all attempts failed. Mr. William, who had been a disciplined and strict military man, often blamed himself for not raising Mike more firmly. Whenever friends and neighbors praised him for staying healthy and active, Mr. William would smile sadly and say, "What's the use of being healthy when you see your grandson growing thinner and weaker from alcohol and drugs?" Though he tried to maintain a calm exterior, his heart was always heavy with unspeakable pain. The story of Mr. Williams' family doesn't end with Mike. Mr. William and his wife had spent their lives working hard and saving every penny for their children's and grandchildren's future. But with Mike's downfall, family relationships grew strained. His eldest son, Mike's father, became increasingly stressed and self-blaming. Despite being the head of the family, Mr. William couldn't find a way to help his son and grandson resolve the situation. However, in his later years, Mr. William found a sense of peace. Rather than drowning in sorrow over Mike's struggles, he chose not to judge. He returned to his hobbies, reading, tending to his small garden, and occasionally playing chess with a neighbor. He believed Mike needed time to change, and his son needed to learn how to face reality. Though family relationships still face challenges, Mr. William learned to let go of some responsibilities and focus on self-care. He began to realize that, despite life's unavoidable challenges, the key was to maintain one's spirit, live healthily, and spend time on things that bring joy and peace. On weekend evenings, his son and daughter-in-law would visit, and they would sit on the porch, enjoying a simple but warm dinner together. Occasionally, Mike would come by, saying little, but Mr. William no longer scolded or felt disappointed. He simply welcomed his grandson with a gentle smile, hoping that love and patience would help Mike find his way back. Mr. Williams' life is a testament to patience, compassion, and family love. Even though his children and grandchildren haven't met all expectations, he finds happiness in small moments with loved ones, which has allowed him to live a peaceful and gentle old age. Wish number 3, social connections and a sense of community. Social connections aren't just limited to family. They extend to relationships with neighbors, friends, and the larger community. Maintaining these ties not only helps the elderly feel less lonely, but also provides a strong support network. Aristotle once said, "Man is a social animal," and this becomes even more significant in old age. The bonds and interactions with others foster a sense of belonging and help seniors feel they still have value in society. In Western countries, many residential communities for seniors are designed not just to meet living needs, but also to foster social connections. These communities often organize events, from small parties and art classes to fitness sessions and regular get-togethers to encourage social interaction. Through these activities, seniors find joy and purpose in their daily lives. For example, in countries like the US and the UK, retirement communities host activities where seniors can play chess, learn a new language, or even organize small concerts. These opportunities help them maintain social connections and prevent feelings of isolation. A sense of community naturally develops through relationships among those living in the same neighborhood. Elderly individuals, especially those who choose to live in quieter areas or suburbs, often develop close bonds with their neighbors. They exchange small gifts, lend a helping hand when needed, and maintain friendships based on mutual trust and respect. In Western culture, neighbors might not see each other daily, but they are always ready to help during emergencies or tough times, creating a reliable social safety net for the elderly. Community ties are also evident when seniors volunteer or join local organizations. Many choose to spend their time in social work, helping those less fortunate. or contributing to community development. This not only keeps them connected to the world outside, but also gives their lives meaning and purpose. In old age, loneliness is one of the greatest fears many face. Social connections and a sense of community serve as a remedy, helping seniors feel loved, cared for, and not forgotten. Relationships within a community bring them comfort, knowing that no matter what happens, there are people around who are always ready to offer support. Wish number 4, the love and care from children and grandchildren. One of the most important wishes for the elderly is to receive love and care from their children and grandchildren. This is not just a need for emotional support, but also an affirmation of their role and significance within the family. The love from children and grandchildren helps seniors overcome feelings of loneliness and loss as they cope with the challenges of aging and declining health. It's a kind of emotional support that makes them feel valued, comforted, and not forgotten. This care doesn't have to come in big gestures. Small actions like sharing a meal or simply chatting about everyday events can bring a lot of joy. Mr. Edward lives alone in a small house on the outskirts of London. Although his children live nearby and often come to visit, he prefers to maintain an independent lifestyle, tending to his garden and spending his free time reading. However, he doesn't always escape the occasional loneliness that comes with old age. Every weekend, his daughter, Emily, cooks a nice meal and brings him a portion. The dishes are simple, but every time he receives one, Mr. Edward lights up with happiness. He loves sitting down at the table, savoring each bite, and can't help but proudly tell his neighbors, "My daughter made French beef stew yesterday. It was so good I ate 2 servings. They always think about me. How lucky I am." Emily never realized that these simple meals meant so much to him. Each time Mr. Edward spoke about those dinners with pride, his neighbor, Mrs. Margaret, would smile and ask, "So, Emily made another delicious meal, huh, Mr. Edward?" He would just smile and nod, feeling warmth fill his heart. Mr. Edward would often tell Emily, "Every day I'm alive is something to be thankful for. Once I'm gone, a big feast in my honor won't mean a thing. What matters is that while I'm still here, I get to enjoy good food and have my kids around. That's what makes me happy." Hearing him say this, Emily would smile but also feel a pang of tenderness. She realized what he truly needed wasn't fancy gifts or luxuries, but rather simple, loving gestures that showed she cared. She kept on cooking for him and visiting often, not just to bring him tasty food, but to sit and chat, listening to the stories from his younger days. Mr. Edward's story shows that, for seniors, happiness often comes from having the love and attention of their children and grandchildren, finding joy in the simple things in life. These shared moments not only bring him comfort, but also deepen the family's understanding of the value of staying connected. Wish number 5, a peaceful passing without burdening family. One of the deepest wishes of the elderly is to have a peaceful passing without becoming a burden on their family. As health starts to decline and the end of life comes into view, they often worry about being a source of strain for their children. This desire is not only about avoiding physical suffering, it's also about wanting to maintain dignity and self-reliance until the very end. The elderly wish to pass on without creating additional stress, whether emotional or financial, for their children and grandchildren. They often make thorough legal preparations, such as setting up wills and end-of-life care decisions, to ensure that their family doesn't face undue pressure when it comes to making final arrangements. This way, seniors can face their last days with a sense of calm and peace, knowing they've done everything they can to lessen the burden on their family. Ladies and gentlemen, no one can escape the natural cycle of life, birth, aging, sickness, and death. Since ancient times, even the most powerful kings have sought ways to achieve immortality. Yet everyone ultimately faces the limits of life. No matter how wealthy or powerful we are, our bodies inevitably age and wear out. The philosophy of life teaches us that, just as an old bamboo stalk must make way for fresh new shoots, people, too, must learn to accept the natural cycle of life. We all grow older each day, And eventually, we will reach the end of our journey. But the most important thing is not the fear of death. It's how we choose to live our lives. A path only has meaning when we walk it, and life only truly matters when we dare to live it fully. Old age is just one inevitable chapter in that journey. Life, like the vast universe, follows unchanging natural laws. Every individual exists to pursue happiness, which is the ultimate goal of human life. As we mature and face pain and loss, we come to recognize the importance of joy and inner peace. But happiness doesn't come automatically. It depends on how we see the world and how we respond to everything around us. The older we get, the more we need to cultivate our wisdom and soul to understand what truly matters in life. In the end, happiness or sadness, success or failure, it all depends on how we choose to perceive and handle life. Seniors must understand these 5 principles of self-cultivation to gain a healthy perspective on life. Success or failure, joy or sorrow, all are shaped by your own choices. First principle, the teapot. One summer afternoon, 2 friends, James and David, sat in James's lush garden, enjoying their coffee and talking about life. David, who was younger and curious about relationships, asked, "James, how do you get people to listen to you?" James, a man who had seen life's ups and downs, took a sip of his coffee and smiled. "David, why don't you go make us a pot of tea?" David quickly obliged, bringing out a hot pot of tea and 2 small cups. James slowly poured tea into one of the cups and said, "Imagine this teapot is like us when we talk to others. How does the tea flow into the cup?" David thought for a moment and answered, "You have to tilt the teapot for the tea to pour into the cup." James nodded. "Exactly. To get others to listen to us, we need to lean in, approach them sincerely, and find a way to connect before sharing what we want to say. And when we're the listener, we also have to lean in, open up to truly hear, not just react or judge." James continued, "Being a person is like being a teapot. You have to be flexible and adaptable. We can't always be rigid, standing tall and criticizing others. We need to be open-hearted and understanding. Generosity is the key to building connections and overcoming life's conflicts." The story of generosity doesn't stop there. Abraham Lincoln, one of the most respected presidents in history, demonstrated great tolerance when faced with mockery and criticism about his humble origins. Lincoln didn't respond with anger or revenge. Instead, he met it with sincerity and composure, turning critics into friends. When he became president, rather than eliminating his political enemies, he actively sought to build friendships with them, believing that forgiveness and cooperation were more powerful than hatred. In life, we all face situations where we have to make a choice: hold on to resentment or let go and move toward peace. As we reach middle age and beyond, debates about who's right or wrong tend to lose their significance. Instead, forgiveness and tolerance not only free us from the burden of anger, but also bring immense blessings. A person's true accomplishments aren't measured just by money or fame, but also by the values they leave behind. The honor and respect earned through a generous spirit become the most precious legacy, far surpassing the wealth or power that so many strive for. Like Lincoln, the lesson in tolerance isn't just about forgiving others. It's about how we live our lives, how we leave a positive mark, not through confrontation, but through love and understanding. The second principle, the balance rule. Imagine you're holding a kitchen knife. A blade that's too sharp can easily cause harm, but a dull blade becomes useless. In life, finding balance between opposing qualities is just as crucial. This is what I call the balance rule in how we live and act. To live a meaningful life, we need integrity and decisiveness when it comes to work and principles, but also flexibility and compassion in our personal relationships. In work, being square doesn't mean being rigid, but rather holding firmly to personal values, staying honest, and not shying away from tough decisions. It's like stopping confidently at a red light, knowing when to go and when to slow down. It's a decisiveness that doesn't compromise conscience. None of us are perfect, But what's important is to act in a way that, even if not flawless, aligns with your moral compass and core values. When it comes to personal relationships, being round isn't about manipulation or cunning, but being thoughtful, putting yourself in another's shoes, and being understanding. It's like knowing how to calm a tense situation and using empathy to create harmony. In life, we will face many challenges and difficulties, but like the poet Sue Dompa, who used humor to get through hard times, we also need to keep our optimism and clarity to carry on. Life can be full of challenges and twists, but if you know when to be square and when to be round, you'll find that life becomes more comfortable and fulfilling. The squareness in principles helps you face challenges with clarity and strength, while the roundness in your soul keeps you from becoming hardened or easily hurt. In the end, life is not a struggle between firmness and softness, but a harmony of both. When you balance integrity with compassion, you'll find the true meaning of life. The third principle, the duck analogy. Picture yourself sitting by a lake in a park, watching a duck gliding effortlessly across the water. On the surface, the duck seems calm and graceful, without any hint of effort. But if you could see below the surface, you'd notice its small feet paddling furiously to keep it moving. Our lives are similar. From the outside, people often see only the success and polished exterior of those who have achieved something, but few recognize the constant effort and challenges faced along the way. Behind every victory lies persistence, hard work, and even failures that go unnoticed. To succeed in any field, it is essential to embrace the whole journey, including its struggles and hardships. The truth is, no one achieves greatness without going through tough times. We live in a world that celebrates results but rarely talks about the struggles behind them. Patience and determination are key to success, and the ability to accept and overcome difficulties is what leads to eventual rewards. Great individuals are not great because they are lucky. They are great because they don't give up. Success is not a privilege for a few, but the result of perseverance. If you're willing to face challenges, if you aren't afraid of difficulties and know how to learn from setbacks, you'll get closer to your goals. Start now, and don't fear obstacles. They're an essential part of achieving what you desire. The fourth principle, the lotus rule. Imagine you're tending a large garden. On the first day, only a few flowers bloom. On the second day, the number doubles. And each day after, the number of blossoms doubles again. By day 30, the whole garden is filled with flowers in full bloom. What's surprising is that by day 29, only half of the flowers had bloomed. This may seem counterintuitive, but it reflects a natural law of growth. Major changes often occur right before reaching the peak. This story mirrors each person's journey in life. When we start out, we're full of energy, working tirelessly. But over time, fatigue and frustration can creep in, leading us to want to give up before reaching success. Many people don't realize they may be just one small step away from their goal, but give up, thinking they've exhausted all their effort. That moment, when we're ready to quit, could be when success is closest. No matter your age, whether you're young with dreams or in the later stages of life, courage and persistence are always critical. If we back down from challenges and difficulties, all the effort we've put in so far becomes meaningless. The world is full of people who stopped just short of reaching their goal, unaware that a little more persistence could have opened the door to great success. To enjoy a comfortable life in old age, it's important to set clear goals and remain committed to pursuing them. The lesson from the blooming garden is that perseverance is the key to success. As many well-known entrepreneurs have said, the greatest failure in life isn't missing a goal. It's giving up before you reach success. The fifth principle, the screen rule. In many modern homes, decorative screens are no longer seen like they were in traditional homes, but the principle they represent still holds value. In the past, screens were placed strategically in the house, not just to block drafts, but also to create privacy and subtle separation. They symbolize a life of discretion and humility, values that are still relevant in how we live today. Humility doesn't mean denying your self-worth. It means keeping your accomplishments and abilities understated, without drawing unnecessary attention. People who focus too much on showing off their talents or success often attract envy. In contrast, those who are gentle, composed, and quietly confident tend to earn respect and goodwill from others. There's a popular saying, "A wise person doesn't need to boast," which means truly skilled people don't need to flaunt their achievements. They let their actions and accomplishments speak for themselves. They're like a precious gem, beautiful, yet retaining a quiet modesty, radiating warmth and value naturally. As we grow older, humility becomes even more important. After years of experience, we realize that not everything needs to be proven or displayed. Wisdom comes from living quietly, without the impulsiveness of youth. The older we grow, the more we seek a peaceful life with a calm, steady soul, a life where humility is not just a way of living, but also a mark of maturity and growth. By living humbly, we not only earn respect from others, but also find true peace within. Leon Festinger, an American social psychologist, put forward a well-known concept called Festinger's Law, which states that 10% of life is what happens to you, and 90% is how you respond to it. In other words, only 10% of life's events are beyond your control, while the remaining 90% depends on your reactions. Therefore, happiness and success in life aren't just a matter of luck, but the result of self-cultivation and discipline. Ladies and gentlemen, each person's life is a journey filled with ups and downs and challenges. At some point, we start to reflect more deeply on the meaning of life, how we treat others, and how to live a life that's whole and peaceful. The principles we've explored today, from finding balance between work and personal life to tolerance, persistence, and humility, are profound lessons that help shape our way of living. By understanding these 5 principles that philosophy's light shares in today's video, I hope you found guidance on your path to cultivating a fulfilling old age. Because success and happiness don't come from luck. They are the result of inner growth, tolerance, wisdom, and patience within each of us. Life isn't just measured by what we achieve, but by how we overcome challenges and find peace within ourselves. Let these lessons inspire you to live a truly meaningful life, one without regrets and filled with serenity in your golden years. If you found this content helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and join us on this journey of sharing deeper values. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next story.